Awesome. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Wednesday educational webinar. Today, I will be going over some key things about creating a competitive job ad, right? Why that is so important and what having a competitive job ad can really do for you in regards to getting that exposure, right? So, as always, we will have a chat feature that we can utilize if you do have any questions that you would like to go over throughout the presentation. And I actually have my coworker Mara here as well. We had a couple technical difficulties, but we all know how that can go. So awesome, Mara. Thanks so much for joining. If you want to introduce yourself, I'm sure everyone would love that.
Thanks, Monica. Hi, everybody. My name is Mara. I'm the Learning and Development Coordinator here at Ideal Traits. Been here going on, 7 years.
Wow.
And so I'm really happy to be here. And yes, I had technical difficulties. Almost wasn't able to see my face. So I'm glad I got that figured out.
Excellent. Well, a great site for everyone today, and so happy that you're able to join with us. So, I was just letting them know, we have the chat feature if they want to utilize that. But what do you say that we go ahead and get started and really going over what it means to have a competitive ad, right? So, the first thing I wanted to talk about is that when creating a job ad, right, there are essentially three different things that allows a candidate to apply for that ad, right? So, Mara, we tend to refer to this as Kevin's 3 C's, right? So, out of curiosity, do you want to list like one of those C's off for me?
Sure. So one of the things that you're obviously going to want to have is one of the 3 C's is content. And so what that means is that when somebody's looking for a job ad, they're going to want to look at the job ad, and if they see something that they're interested in, obviously it meets all their check marks, they're going to want to apply. So when you're looking at to writing a job ad, you're going to want to make sure that you have that content, that meaning what candidates are looking for. And that leads us also into the competition and what's going on around you in your area.
Perfect. Yes. And that is really important with conducting like market research, right?
Mm-hmm.
That tends to be one thing that we encourage our clients to do. And this is because really understanding the competition that's in your area can then allow you to understand what ballpark that we're playing in, right? Are there hundreds of ads similar to the one that you're posting, right? Or maybe it might be a lot smaller range, in which case that should also indicate, hey, the candidate pool might be a little bit smaller because it more than likely is a rural town compared to, let's say, like Chicago, right? A more metropolis area that more than likely probably has like over 800 job ads within like a 25-mile radius. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised at that number. But yes, Mara, so I kind of touched base on it like with Indeed a little, but how exactly would one go about conducting market research?
So what typically we recommend is going on the job boards, like you had brought up, Monica, is going on Indeed, and you can search for like insurance sales representative and in your area, and you can kind of get an idea of what is going on in your particular area. So if I was looking for an insurance sales representative in my area, which would be Lake Orion, Michigan, that's what I would put in, and then just kind of see what my neighbors are doing. Now, Indeed has that default feature of 25-mile radius, and you can do that, or you can narrow it down. Now, specifically for our candidates, like I said, it's the default feature. So when they're using their filters, it's going to default to the 25-mile radius so they can see everybody within that 25-mile radius. And they can see all your competitors and what they're offering. Now you can narrow it down to kind of see, who's directly next door to you, right down the street. So you can go down to 5 miles, or even like really down to like I said, right next door, right down the street, just to kind
Right.
of see what's going on. But you really want to just kind of get an idea what, and not just compensation, but benefits,
Yeah.
perks, just anything that people are offering to candidates, just to kind of get a feel of what everybody is offering. Because it's not always just about compensation, it's not always about insurance, it's also about culture It's also about what's making them stand out. It could be volunteer days. It could be any number of things. You have to remember that people are, candidates out there also have their own check boxes that they're looking
Right.
for. They're different things that they're looking for in a future employer. So just like you're looking for future employees, they're looking for a future employer that is going to fit for them. So as
Right.
far as doing that market research, you are going to want to make sure that you are looking through to see what your neighbors are doing, because you do want to be competitive. Now, saying competitive, that doesn't mean that you want to be the exact same. You don't want to
Right.
be paying the exact same, and saying that is where you're being competitive. What you're wanting to do is, being competitive means that what's going to make you stand out. You
Right.
don't want to be exactly the same. You want to be the person that stands out.
Right. That makes complete sense. And so now we have our compensation, we have our content, and then what was the last C?
The last C is the campaign budget.
The campaign budget. And that's beneficial in regards to being able to get more exposure, right? More views, more clicks, more applies, and then which helps get that ad in front of that right candidate, which really kind of brings together the three main points on helping get your ad in front of that right candidate and then them being allowed to apply. So, with that being said, the next kind of transition I wanted to go into was really about the content. And the reason being is because with having so many job ads out there, right, and different competition in your area, the most important thing that we could do is making sure that this content is really speaking to that candidate, right? And is really giving them the opportunity to be able to say, huh, I really don't have any more questions about this position. My questions are
Mhm.
answered. I understand what your company culture is going to be like. I understand what my hours of operation are, what my pay structure is. Just a couple examples. So, what I really want to dive into, Mara, is like, can you go over some examples of what should this job description like really be going over?
So, what the job description should be going over is that, first and foremost, it should be an introduction. It should be an introduction of your agency. It should be an introduction of yourself, talking about your culture, your mission, your goals. Just saying, hey, this is who we are. So there should be just a little bit of an about us at the very
Right,
beginning. Then there should be, this is what the job description is. And we do also encourage you to put in there, um, you know, this is, if I'm looking for somebody who's experienced, here's a little bit of what I'm looking for. But we also encourage you to put in there, for people who are trying to get their foot in the door for insurance, is to have a little bit in there also of, like, if you're new to the insurance industry, I'm looking for this type of person. Um, and then after that, you go through and you make sure that you're putting in the responsibilities, you're putting in the requirements, and then you're putting in the benefits. You want to make sure that whatever your job ad is saying is that you're putting in you're answering absolutely every question that could possibly be asked initially. And then also, you're going to want to make sure that you have in there the base salary, whatever that person is going to be making annually as far as the base salary. And then if it's a sales person, or even a customer service person, if they're going to
right.
have added commissions or bonuses, you're going to want to make sure that you're factoring that in with the separate. Like if you're looking for experienced and inexperienced, making sure that you put in there, this is what you could be making.
Whoa, Mara, so you're going to tell me that candidates are actually like considering what agencies are paying? Like that's something that they're looking for?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if I was looking for a position, that's what I'm going to be looking for. And if
Exactly.
I'm looking at a job and I'm not getting that information, I'm going to keep moving forward.
Right.
Um, it's one of those things where, if I'm not getting the information that I want, and you have to understand that information is out there.
Right.
If you're able to find it, if the agent is able to find it, then you yourselves as business owners, if you're able to find it, that means the candidates are able to find it as well.
Right.
So they are more than able to get that information. They're able to see, this is how much that people in the area are paying. And if you're not showing the information, they're going to wonder what else you're not telling them. So you
Mm-hmm.
want to be as transparent and open as you possibly can with them.
Yeah, that's a great word that you use, Mara. Transparency. And I think it's so important because, like you said, when you're competing already with hundreds potentially of jobs in your area, right? Is the salary really going to be the reason why you want to miss out on that next, superstar producer? Right? Because we're choosing not to show our cards. I don't want Bill Jones in my office to know that I'm going to be paying for this position. That's a conversation that you have to have with your team, unfortunately, right? It's like being, shy with that. I think understanding that candidates are looking for that transparency. I personally have helped write a few ads, as well as being able to help walk our agents through creating these ads. And I will say that what's getting more traction right now is 100% the ads that really are going over that full transparency. What exactly can they expect, right? Compared to the 2 sentence job description, 30 requirements, 30 responsibilities, 4 benefits listed with no salary, right? I mean, let's put ourselves inside of the candidate's position, right? And you have all of these different opportunities at the click of flicking your wrist, right?
Mm.
So it's like we really want to make sure that these job ads are made for that candidate, right? If you're looking for that superstar agent, right, that's going to be producing 6 figures, right, worth of content in a year, do we really want a 2 sentence job description not showing what that salary is, right? And again, all those other things that I just said that might be turning them away from applying. No, we want to give them the meat and potatoes of what they can expect. And I think Mara did a really great job at explaining that salary compensation as well, because having that inside of your ad is going to really, again, put the ball into the candidate's court of hopefully you have no questions, right? I mean, maybe they do like during the interview process, maybe more particular things, right? But your first impression, right? Realistically, it probably should have no questions, right? So that compensation is really one that we want to hit base on because of the fact that that is giving now the candidates the ability to be able to imagine what it is that they could be making with their experience level, as well as what they could make if they genuinely give it their all, are an A+ superstar. They have that motivation and drive to outcompete every single one in your office, right? What can they make? Because they want to see what that future success would look like, right? And so this brings us to a great example of what I've been sharing with the agents that have been chatting with me is going over that compensation as, entry level candidates can expect X amount as a base salary and up to X amount in commission. Top level performers can maybe expect of $5,000 more base salary, right? So, again, putting that number right there and up to $20,000 in commission per year. Because again, this is that person that is your superstar in your office. What is the max amount that they make, right? Or what's the most that they've made? Because we want to give those candidates the opportunity to say, I might be somewhat experienced right now. That's kind of where I'm at, but I want to get to where that person is at. What do I need to do to get there, right? You're creating that tier of what they can expect in that future success with your agency, which is ultimately what we want, right? Long-term growth. And then the last line I love to put in there is the no experience, no problem. Let's be real about the number of candidates that don't have that license, right? I mean, if I were to ask every single one of you guys, how did you get into the insurance industry, right? Was it right, fresh out of grade school and you were like, I'm going to be an insurance agent someday? More than likely, you got roped into it by someone that right? Those referrals, not having that experience, right? So being able to be an agency owner now, that gives you the opportunity to say where was I at, right, when I first started, and do I maybe have some tools to be able to assist with that, right? So again, going back to the job description with that, no experience, no problem. If I have that bolded, and again, and I have my top level and top experience one as well, where would your eyes go, Mara, if you didn't have any experience? Like, would you go to the top level first, or would you go to the no experience?
Well, when I'm looking at the job ad, obviously I'm going to be looking at what's bolded. If I don't have any experience, that's where my eyes are going to land on, and that's
Yeah,
where I'm going to be looking.
right.
What you have to remember is that this job ad is a conversation starter. It's
Mhm.
their first impression of what this agency is.
Yes.
So you have to remember that it's a first impression, it's a conversation starter. um, it's where they're going to get their answer or get the answers to their questions, and you want to be giving them that good impression of what it's going to be like to work in the agency, that good first impression.
Right.
So you do have to take that time to be writing that job ad.
Right. And hey, that's not to say that you can't utilize any of the templates inside of there, right? Be my guest. But what I
Hmm.
will say is only using that template fully go over what it's like working at your agency. Because if the answer is no, which more than likely it should be, because again, that template's very generic, is that we need to be sure that we're customizing it to speak to that agency or speak to that candidate, right? No experience, no problem. Entry level candidates can expect, again, being transparent, probably a smaller base, right? But you will be getting hands-on training. We will be putting time into the success of your growth in this agency and in this career that you're choosing to be a part of, right? Putting that candidate, making it appealing to them that you are willing to put in that time compared to, again, 3 sentences that's saying, we're looking to hire, right? Unfortunately, that doesn't give the candidate a lot of information about what it is that you're looking for as well as what you are giving them. So it is definitely a back and forth conversation that really you have full control over. So really utilizing this job description section to go over that. I know in the past we've talked about keeping it short and simple, but as we all know, hiring trends change, right? What people are looking for changes, and that's totally okay. And that's what Ideal Trades is here to help you guys out with, right? We are here to be able to take a look over your ad and say, we offer this suggestion, or helping with conducting that market research, right? But at the end of the day, it really is like a self reflection, I'd almost say, of being able to say what it is that I'm being able to offer the candidates, right? And does this ad accurately convey that? I think that that's probably one of the most important parts within that job description.
Hmm.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Mar, was there anything else that you had wanted to add to the job description part?
Um, as far as the job description, again, I think with the um, with the job description, um, maybe just putting in there, as a few of the responsibilities, but also in the job description, kind of throwing in a few of the benefits
Yeah.
in there as well. Just kind of giving a little bit of that summary before they actually scroll down and get more into the meat and potatoes of what the requirements, responsibilities, and benefits are.
Right, definitely. And I think that the benefits section, the requirements, and even the responsibilities tab, like those on its own, it for the most part can be like bullet point form and pretty brief and descriptive, right? But yeah, I think the job description really does open up that conversation in that first introduction and making your ad stand out, make it unique, right? Really speak to that candidate. What makes you different than the agency down the road? Because they want to hear about it, because they probably already saw their ad and they might have scrolled past it. So, what can you do to ensure that they don't do that with your ad, right? That's definitely going to be important. But one of the other things inside of this job ad that we had wanted to go over today was the different terminology about remote positions, right? Because as we all know, remote is something that people are looking for, especially since after COVID, right? I mean, we all kind of got used to working from home for a little, and we were able to adapt that into our work life, right? So if you are looking to hire remotely, what we do want to make sure is that we're getting that terminology right. And what I mean by that is that Indeed's AI system is currently tagging ads that have the word remote in it as being remote, right? So being showcased throughout the entire United States, even if the remote option is selected as no. So, Monica, how would I hire, if I'm offering like 4 days a week as being work from home or remote, right? Great question. So, Mara, out of curiosity, do you know like some of the different terminology that we have in regards to like different roles and making sure that it doesn't get tagged that way?
hmm So, obviously, remote is when it's going to be advertised through Indeed, across the country. As far as, you can do work from home, you can do flexible scheduling. Those are the ones where, it's not going to be remote, where it's going to be advertised across the country, but this one's going to be more localized, where they can work from home. The flexible scheduling is obviously like it sounds, it's going to be a little bit more flexible where they can, this is a discussion that you can have with the candidates on having more of an open type schedule, where it's going to be more convenient for them and also may fit your schedule as well.
Perfect. Excellent. So we now kind of have the ability to be able to navigate through that. So that way, again, we do want to make sure that you are highlighting any unique benefits that you have, right? So that being one of them. Another topic that we had talked about recently was about requiring license, right? So a big part of job ads in being an insurance agency is having probably that property and casualty license and or the life and health, right? So with that, what we're finding is that Indeed is stating that you cannot require that a candidate pay for training, right? So, what that means is that when we're saying inside of our job ad must be willing to obtain property and casualty license, right? We are putting into words that they are going to be paying for training. So, one thing that we wanted to talk about of being able to navigate throughout this is being able to say if that you are going to be, paying for the license, you can put license will be sorry, Mara, what was the terminology that we talked about for this one? It's drawing a blank.
It can be they can compensate, or they would pay for it. And I think the other one was that they would be reimbursing. Is that the other one?
I think the compensation one, yes, in regards to fully paying for it. So
Mm-hmm.
property and casualty license paid in full. That was the terminology that we used.
Yep.
So paid in full, or if you are offering any sort of assistance with it, talk about that inside of the interview and put inside
Mm-hmm.
of the
Job
the
ads.
job requirements. Yes,
Willing to
property and
train.
casualty license required. So
Mm-hmm.
honestly, even just that, because that is just stating that it is required. Again, during that interview, if you take a look over their resume, you'll be able to see if they have it or not, if they have it listed there. But again, during that interview, that would be a good time to be able to go over any reimbursement that you offer or what that structure will look like. Do they have to have it prior to start date? Would they be able to start and then train with you towards getting it? Obviously, how you structure that, you can definitely go over with the candidate in regards to making sure that they fully understand that, but still being able to make sure that we are following the job board's guidelines by not stating that they'll be paying for the training. So being sure to avoid that, but
Mm-hmm.
perfect. So that was one of the other terminologies that we had wanted to talk about. And then licensing, remote. Yes. And then the last point that I wanted to talk about today was just reiterating going over the candidate's perspective. I really think that it's important to fully understand that these are candidates that we're speaking to that may have insurance experience, right? And they really are looking for an ad that suits them and speaks to them in regards to the level of education, experience, all of the different requirements that they could, have or different great benefits that they would be offering to your team, right? So making sure that we fully understand that from a candidate's perspective, that's how we should be reading this ad compared to how fast can I get a job ad up and running. Right. I think it's so easy and it's so convenient to definitely use those templates, easily go in quick. I could have a job ad up and running in probably under a minute, right? But would that really attract the right candidate without actually putting any thought about what I am looking for in regards to my agency, things of that nature, right? I think that that's really important in just, being supplemental with the resources that we already have. So that was just the last point that I had wanted to make on that. Mara, was there anything else that you had wanted to highlight on in regards to that perspective?
So what I recommend when writing a job ad, and I do this myself, is that when writing a job ad, what I typically do is I read it out loud, just to make sure that it makes sense to me, and that I also will reflect on it to make sure that this would be a job ad that I would want to stop and look at. Is this a position that I myself would want to apply to?
Right.
Again, this is something that I do when I'm writing a job ad. It's because again, you want to make sure it makes sense. Again, this is an introduction of yourself and your company.
Definitely. We did get a question. Meadow asked, what sites do you suggest we review for other ads? Indeed, ZipRecruiter, and what others? I will say that you can realistically use any job board that does have ads. I will say about 90% of our traffic, our applicant traffic, does come from Indeed. And I think that that's just because of their advertising, right? So if you are looking to conduct market research, really quick, let me just share my screen. As you can see here, I've loaded Indeed. All you would have to do is, let's say, insurance customer service. Whatever your zip code is, you'd be able to enter that here. I'm just going to leave in the most recent one that I have. And now here, as you can see, insurance customer service. And as you can see here now, I can now see the total number of jobs. Again, it does default within a 25-mile radius. Here are the different things that candidates can choose from in regards to helping narrow down their search, right? But this does give you a good idea as to how many jobs are in that area. Again, you can do insurance sales representative, whatever you would like to be able to conduct that research, but this is how you would do so. And then again, you can go through, see what your competitors are doing in your area, etc. But yeah, great question, Meadow. Was there any other questions for today? Excellent. So one unique thing that I did want to do with you guys today is, let me go ahead and get this posted, publish poll. So you guys should see on your screen about what topics would you like to see. So I left it available to be able to select a couple if you would like. Here are just the main ones that we tend to see. If you do want to select the one that best suits that, or if there are any unique topics, we're just trying to get some more information about what it is that you guys are looking for, what you're looking to see, and then being able to put out more educational topic, because let's be real, you guys are the ones that are coming to these webinars or looking to get more information, and we want to be able to help get you as much information and education about this hiring journey as we can. So I will go ahead and leave that poll. Mara, were you able to see the poll?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, perfect. I just want to be sure. So I'll go ahead and leave that up. If you guys could just, go ahead and submit that before you leave, I would greatly appreciate it. And I do, again, just want to thank Mara for joining us today. I do apologize for the technical difficulties, because I totally understand how that can go. But thank you so much for being here and just giving your wisdom about creating job ads and being competitive overall. It's really great to hear, and being able to give these agents that much more resources. So it was great having you.
Thank you. I love being here.
Awesome. Well, if there are no other questions, that is all I had for today. So thank you guys so much for joining. And next Wednesday, what we'll be doing is we are going over conducting phone interviews. So that'll be a really good topic. So if you guys do want to get registered for that, you will be sent out a registration link. So if you have any other questions, feel free to chat into through your Ideal Traits account, and we're always happy to help get you guys more information. So have a great rest of your day, guys. Take care.